Dr. Willie Jolley coming to you live in living color from Washington, D.C. Excited about tonight's broadcast and the opportunity to share with you a couple little ideas that will help you hopefully live better, achieve more, and help you to live your life full out all your life, as long as you live. So I'm excited about the opportunity to be with you tonight, and I hope you're ready to have a great time. As I said in my tweet, if many of you are following me on Twitter, that we're on the East Coast in Washington, D.C., and outside it's snowing. I was supposed to do a big television interview earlier today, and they had to reschedule. And there are all sorts of announcements on television, on the radio, online, text messages. This is being canceled, that's being canceled. But this, my time with you, is not being canceled because of this thing called the internet. I am so grateful for, I live at a time where we can have access to the internet. And the fact that the internet allows me to reach you wherever you may be in the world, and to reach you in real time, and to not have to worry about what's going on outside with the weather. Many times over the years, I've wanted to put on events, and I've put on events here in the Washington area, and we've had bad weather. One time, Les Brown and I did an event, and it was a big storm, and it impacted people's ability to get to us. But we still had a nice crowd, but not a full crowd because of the weather. Well, now we can have as many of you on who can access your computers, who can access your smartphones. You know, hopefully you got a smartphone or an iPad or some sort of device where you can access me through the internet. So I want to say thank you for coming. For those who might be new, Martin Luther King Jr. birthday, I did a Google Hangout to celebrate Dr. King's birthday. And the response was so amazing from so many people around the globe that we said, let's keep doing it. Let's just keep doing it as long as my schedule will allow it. It's free. It's some way I can share with you a community of faith, focus, and possibility thinking. And so people often ask me, well, we know you have a doctorate in ministry, you have a master's in theology, you have the training and preparation to be a preacher. Are you going to start a church? Well, I was not called to be a pastor. I was called to be an inspirational, motivational speaker. That's the call. That's my purpose. That's what I'm born to do. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But once I found what I was born to do, I could do it in some new ways. And so I know some pastors who are called to be pastors. And there are some speakers who are called to be speakers. They love the Lord. They are grateful for what God has done in their lives, who are able to proclaim the message and the glory of God, but do it in a different way, in a different place. So that's what my call is, to use my theological background, to use my speaking background, to use my entertainment background, to inspire people to not just have faith, that's number one, but number two is to do something significant with your life as a result of your faith. You know, I say it every week on my radio show on Sirius XM, and every week on this Google Hangout, I've said the same thing. God's gift to you is life. Your gift to God is what you do with your life. And I recommend and encourage you to live a fabulous, incredible, exemplary, exceptional life. That God will not be shamed that he made you, will not be upset that he made you and he gave you life. Let's use this life to God's glory. So that said, I'm going to give you some, what we call this Monday School. Our Google Hangout is called Monday School, like Sunday School, but on a Monday night. Because Sunday School is where you would learn life principles taken from the Bible on Sunday morning, typically. When I was growing up, we went to Sunday school. This is Monday School, like Sunday School, but on a Monday night. And we want to give you life principles to help you live better and achieve more. My doctorate, many of you saw last week. I guess I better pull it up so you can see it. my diploma from the California Graduate School of Theology with a doctorate of ministry. But I went back in 2012 and did the work and worked on that. Well, my doctorate's in faith-driven achievement, helping people to have greater success and greater achievement using their faith to achieve more, to do more, to be more, and to have greater success, and to leave a greater legacy here in this earth realm for your children, your children's children, your children's children's children, and even their great-great-grandchildren. You know, the Bible says that a good person leaves an inheritance for their children's 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 children. And I want to help you to live a life so that you'll be able to do that, so that 100 years from now, they'll still be remembering you and talking about you and the impact you had. More so, also, I want you to have a great life here. I want you to enjoy life. I want you to max out. I want you to prosper, be in good health as your souls prosper. I want you to enjoy life and live life at the highest level. I want you to max out and not live just a life just to get by, but I want you to prosper and really be in good health as your souls prosper. So we've been talking about how to live a good life all your life. That was the first part of this process, that many people will not live a good life all their lives because they are limited by their thinking, by their age, by their circumstances, by their situations. No, we want you to live a good life all your life. And years ago, I gave a teaching or program or message, a speech, when I was just getting started as a speaker, the first few years, called The Power of the P's, and how it was built on the principle that there's power in the letter P that was built on or drawn from or received from the pearl. And the pearl is a very, very, very priceless piece of jewelry or jewel. It's a unique one because it is a naturally created. Now, how does a pearl get created? Well, a piece of sand, a grain of sand, you know how small a grain of sand is. A grain of sand gets under the lining of an oyster. And it gets in there and it irritates the oyster's mouth. So the oyster secretes a solution to try and keep that grain of sand from disturbing its lining of its mouth. And it keeps secreting a solution until that piece of sand, that irritant, is completely covered. But in the process, it creates a beautiful, priceless pearl. There's a pearl inside of you. And sometimes it comes from the irritants of life, the challenges of life, the difficulties of life. But if you're willing to look at the possibilities for your future and start looking at how these setbacks and these negatives can turn into comebacks and into positives, and how the challenging moments can become champion moments, and how these trials can become triumphs, how you can become a victor and not the victim. Oh, you can live life at the highest level. And that's what I want you to do. How many want to do that? Okay, so I'm going to give you some more of the P's. Last week, we started with the power of the P's for having a prosperous life. And we talked about purpose and how in the Bible, Jeremiah said in Jeremiah 1:5, before you were born, God knew you and consecrated you. And we talked about that a little bit, but then I didn't talk about the fact that also in Romans 8:28, it says, for we know that all things work together for good for them that are the called and called according to his purpose. That you have a purpose. He gave you a purpose. He put it in you. And he wants you to live that purpose. The problem is finding your purpose. Now, people always tell you to find your purpose. Well, how do you find your purpose? You know, in fact, I love when I used to hear people trying to explain it. They talked about Greek mythology. And, you know, the Greeks used to try and figure it out before they knew that there was a God, singular, and that he was the God of the universe. And before there was a Jesus who came to be the representation in earthly form of that God, that singular God. And so they had gods. They had Zeus and Venus and Thor and all of these different gods that they try to explain why life was. And they had a Greek mythology about purpose because they knew it was important as well. And they used to say that the secret to purpose was when the man was made, a woman was made, created, the God set out and said, well, we've got the most powerful part of their existence is this thing called their purpose. But it's got to be something that they realize is very important and very necessary and critical for their success and their fulfillment. Well, you know, people are people, they say. And if you give it to them too easy, they won't appreciate it. So you have to make it a little difficult. Well, where should we put it so they will never find it? Like one of them said, let's put it on the top of the highest mountain. They'll never find it up there. No, someone said, eventually they'll figure out a way to get to the top of the highest mountain and they'll find it. And we know that people have gotten to the highest mountains. They said, put it in the lowest sea, the bottom of the sea. Neptune will be able to place it at the bottom of the sea. But we know now we got submarines and all sorts of things to get you to the bottom of the sea. They said, well, somebody will eventually get there. Let's put it in the desert. Well, somebody will get there. Let's put it in the coldest part of the world, Antarctica. And they talked about all the places they could put it. And then one of them, the wisest one of the Greeks, Greek gods, say what you talk about, the mythology said, let's put it in them. Put it inside of them. They'll never look there. But those who are wise will seek to find that which is within them. You know, Thomas Edison said, that which is before you and that which is behind you can never compare with that which is within you. And when you find that thing that was within you, that can power you, that will inspire you, I know it's my faith, but also my purpose. My faith and my purpose start to work together. And when you get your faith and your purpose, your reason for being starting to work together, woo-wee, you've got something powerful to work with. It's a powerful part of your life. You know, somebody said that the most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find why you were born. The day you were born and the day you come to realize why you were born. What's your purpose? Les Brown says, if you can find your reason for living, is the way to do that is that you find your making. What were you made? What was your reason for being made? And when you find and able to find your making, then you can make a living by living your making and love the process. I found that to be true. I know I was born to do this. I know it took me a while to figure it out. It took me years to figure out I was born to do that. I was trying to find my purpose. I knew I had an interest in inspirational. I had an interest in entertainment, and I went to college to get a degree in theology because I had this inspirational part, but I loved music and entertaining, and I loved those two parts. I love to inspire people, but I also love to entertain people. And when I was growing up, they were mutually exclusive. You had to have one or the other. You could not be a person who had both. You either had to be a preacher who was inspirational, or you had to be an entertainer who was entertaining. And it wasn't the concept of putting them together was unheard of. But one day I realized those were the two things I was born to do. And I decided to do it, and it's been fantastic. I've just had a ball. And so the day you were born is important, and the day why you find why you were born. I was born to inspire people and entertain them to live better and achieve more and do more with their lives. You know, it's important. Now, how do you find that? People often tell you to find, once you find your purpose. Well, how do you find your purpose? You just heard me say it. I gave you a pearl. If you were listening, it's about your passion. What are you passionate about? What do you love? What do you love to do? What do you love to do? What would you do for free? But because you're good at it, people will pay you and allow you to make a living at that thing which you love, which is your purpose. You find your purpose. What do you love to do? What do you love? Just love doing it. I love getting up and giving a speech. I love getting on stage and singing a song. I love inspiring people. I love encouraging people. I love uplifting people. I love it. What do you love to do? Here's a way to find what you love to do. And if what you're doing now is what you love to do. So one of my mentees came by the house with my son. He brings a bunch of them when he's in town. They all come by. But one of them came down, and I was in my office. And Mr. Jolley, I really need to talk to you for a few minutes. I'm really struggling. I'm struggling with my life. I'm struggling. He was an attorney. He was making a lot of money, but he hated his job. And he sat in my office, and we talked for a few minutes. I said, well, is this what you love to do? He said, well, I guess so. It pays me high six figures to do it, and I travel, but I don't know. I said, let me give you another question to help you find it. Imagine that someone, a distant relative or somebody who knew you and was impressed with you from afar, left you an inheritance of $100 million. $100 million. And you got a notification of it today, this afternoon, and you went to your bank account and the money was there, and you are confirmed getting $100 million today. What are you going to do tomorrow? Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, what are you going to do with your life? Are you going to go to that job? He said, no, I'm not going in there. I'm out of there. I said, then that's not your purpose. Now ask me the same question. If I went to the bank today and got this notification that I had $100 million in my account, and tomorrow morning, what would I do? Now, of course, I'm saying this, folks, say after you've paid your bills or you've bought something. But what are you going to do with your life when it's time to get going, the next part of your life? What are you going to do? Well, let me tell you what I told him. I said, if I had that situation tomorrow morning, what I would do is exactly what I did today. I'd get up. I thank God for another day. I'd read my scriptures. I'd read a proverb for whatever day it is today. I'd read that proverb. I'd have prayer time. I'd go to the gym. Well, I'd get some coffee first. I'd get a big cup of coffee, my favorite coffee. I'd sit and think for a few minutes about what my day is going to look like. And then I'd go to the gym, get my workout in so I could take care of my body. And then I'd come back and do exactly what I did today. I'd get in my office. I might not make as many calls because I'd be writing my next book, or I'd be creating a new product, or I'd find a new way to get my message out to people. But I would do what I'm doing now. And I say to you, what would you do? Let me ask you. You got $100 million. You got it confirmed in your bank account. It's a confirmation. Wow. You looked on the line. It's there. What are you going to do tomorrow? Or you've paid all the bills off. You've invested. You paid off your house. You bought your parents a home or whatever it is. But now, what are you going to do with your life? Start thinking about that. That'll give you some clarity into what you love to do. What's your passion? Most people go to jobs they can't stand. I think the statistic was over 50% of people in America go to jobs they don't like, but they go because they got to pay their bills, or they got to take care of this or that. Well, if money were not an object and you could do whatever you wanted to do, what would you do with your life? Start thinking about that. Find your passion. Because once you find your passion, you are head and shoulders on your way to enjoy your life and make a difference. And that's what I want you all to do, make a big difference. I want you to be inspired to make a difference. So first is purpose, which is usually connected to your passion. And next is finding that love. One more thing I want to tell you about this is, you remember I said last week, Samuel L. Jackson, I heard him in that interview, he said that his passion was also that he found what he loved and he was willing to work at it and work hard. He did 158 movies so far, and he stopped counting because he just loves what he did. And he said something, he said, singers get up in the morning, they start singing, and writers get up in the morning, they start writing, and painters get up in the morning, they start painting, and they start creating art, and artists do the same thing because that's what they love to do. He said, I love our acting, and that's just what I do for a living, and I love what I do for a living, so I don't even pay it much attention. Now, one more thing I heard over the years, people would say years ago, well, once you find what you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I said, well, is that really true? As I've grown older, I've realized that I do still work. I just love my work. It's still work. I got to work. I got to put the work in. I got to put the time in. I got to put some grind in terms of reading and developing myself and working on me. It's work. I'm not lounging around on a couch eating potato chips. This is work. These Google Hangouts, I could be doing something else, but I want to inspire you. It's work. So you know that it's going to take work, but it's a different type of work. When I do some sort of program that I really didn't want to do, that's not in my sweet spot over the years I've done them, it's drudgery. It's work. That's work. But when I do what I'm supposed to do, inspire, motivate, get in front of a crowd and give a keynote speech, get in front of a crowd and sing one of my songs that inspires them, do a radio show that inspires my Sirius XM, I am in my zone. That's work, but I don't think of it as work. I'm having fun. So I want you to find what you love, and you really don't really work a day in your life. You just have to do the work to be able to do what you love, okay? Next. George Burns says something I love. This is a great quote. He said, I would rather be a failure at something that I love than to be a success at something I hate. And isn't that the truth? So purpose, connected to your passion, and then it goes to planning. Now, I told you over the years I've learned a lot, I've grown a lot, I've matured a lot. And with the things I thought before are different than the things I think now. I've learned that some of those were not quite mature thoughts. They still needed to grow. I used to say you just had to have a plan. But I've learned over the years you have to have planning. So it's purpose, passion, and planning. You have to be planning. And then the Bible confirms this. In Luke 14, it says, for which of you desire to build a tower does not first sit down and count the cost as to whether they have enough to complete it. The Bible talks about that in a number of places. Or which of you, if you had a king would have a war, would count the cost to see if it had enough people to win the war. And so you have to count the cost, plan your work, and work your plan. Plan your work and work your plan. Now, it's not one singular plan, though. It's multiple plans. You need to have a life plan. You have a business plan. You have to have a financial plan. And you need to have some goals. So different types of plans that will help you to achieve more in your life. So I'm encouraging you to have plans. Not just one plan, but many plans that will help you to achieve your goals and achieve your dreams and to get where you want. I have to keep working on my plan because my life and my goals keep growing. Oh, by the way, if you were in my goal setting seminar the other day, it was just incredible. And the one thing I'm very grateful, we had so many people who were around the country who said, I want to come, I can't get to DC or I can't access it because of my schedule. Now what we've done, we webcast it and we recorded it. It's a 2.5 hour program, 3-hour program that talks about how to set goals, and the responses were incredible. So you should be getting some notifications soon about how you can access that webinar or that web conference or that web seminar, and you can listen and learn and go through the process yourself. It's fabulous. And every time I do it, I grow a little more. I get a little more clarity on my goals, because your goals are what drive you, or what give you power. You know, we talked about the beginning of the year, people have resolutions. By this time of the year, most people have forgotten them. But if you set some goals, and so we're working on goals, you got to have a health goal, a spiritual goal, a wealth goal, a financial goal, a business goal, a personal goal, numerous goals. So we talked about you got to have goals. And so that is why I wanted you to make sure that you understood that this is going to be a powerful part of your life. And I'm excited about the fact that in this process, you will grow. So let me read something to you about the next part. And we only got a few more minutes, so I have to pick up this next week, but I'll get you started. So it's purpose, and then there's the passion that shares your purpose, and then there's planning, multiple plans. So you have planning, and then there's preparation. that you're prepared. You're constantly working on yourself. What are you working on to become a better you? How are you developing you to become a better you? You know, Jim Rohn said you should work harder on you than you work on yourself. I mean, on your job. Work harder on yourself than you work on your job, because then you'll be able to do your job more efficiently. Abraham Lincoln said, he said, if you got 8 hours to cut down a tree, spend 6 of those hours or 3 of those hours sharpening up your axe, preparing yourself for the job you have to do. And I love what the Bible says in Proverbs 6 and 6. It says, go to the ant, you sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, which having no captain, overseer, or ruler, provides her supplies in the summer and gathers her food in the harvest. How long will you slumber, O sluggard? When will you arise from your sleep? A little slumber, a little folding of the hands asleep. So shall your poverty come upon you like a prowler, and your need like an armed man. In other words, if you don't prepare yourself and start preparing, you're going to get poor. And know how many you want to be poor, how many you won't have nothing. But in my book, A Setback Setup for a Comeback, I had written about this before I was well aware. This book is over 10 years, aware well of that scripture. And I love this. It says, consider the ant. It prepares and constantly thinks about the winter, even in summer. It prepares and thinks about tomorrow. The grasshopper, on the other hand, thinks only about today. The grasshopper thinks summer all summer, while the ant thinks winter all summer. When the winter comes, the ant is able to live with some comfort, while the grasshopper suffers. Our lesson is that the ant works diligently to prepare for the hard times that will come, because sooner or later, they will come. We should all take a lesson from the ant. We should work diligently every day, and we should be committed to setting goals and going after them. We should plan for tomorrow. Giving up is not an option, no matter what obstacles are thrown in our way, no matter what problem beset us or what circumstances we find ourselves in. We must never give up. We've got to keep going after our dreams and striving to reach our goals. We must always prepare for the future and think about the needs of winter while still in the summer. We should plan and prepare for tomorrow today. We should put something away for a rainy day. Just as there is sunshine, there will be rain. And just as there is summer, there will be winter. We got that here now. There will be setbacks. There will be challenges. Work hard, prepare for the difficult times, and most of all, never give up. Be like the ant. Prepare for the winter, even in summer. Well, that's from my book, Setback Setup for a Comeback. And if you don't have a copy of that book, I recommend you go over. I keep all my books over here in my book shelf. It only takes a minute to change your life. Setback Setup for a Comeback. Turn setbacks into greenbacks. Attitude of Excellence. Chicken Soup for the Christian Soul. And then we got some of my other Chicken Soup, my Go Mad, my book for young people, for youth. If you got a teenager, get that, as well as my youth video. But we want to help you to have greater success. Now, as I say every week, if this is a blessing to you, here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to go to jollygoodnews.org and make a donation so that I can get one of my big goals in gear, which is to put that book, A Setback Setup for a Comeback, into every prison in America in the form that they need it. They need it in a paperback form, a certain size. I have to have them printed, and it's going to cost a lot of money to print enough copies so every prison can have 2 copies and an audio version, because some of the prisoners don't read well. We know that. And so statistics and studies show that most prisoners who are in prison today read on a 3rd grade or less level. So I want to make sure that they get this information. If they have a problem with reading, we want to make sure they have an access and an option to have an audio version. So we want to get them to think differently. They got in prison for a reason. Maybe they made a poor choice. Maybe who they hung out with. But whatever the reason, we want to help them to turn it around. And I want to give them a new future, and that they will have a new thinking. And so when they come out of prison, that they won't go back. The recidivism rate is still high. We got too many people still going back to prison because they have a thinking that keeps them in prison. It's the old story of the how do you train a elephant in the circus. They put a big shackle on his leg, and they keep it so a certain amount, and they try and get away, and they try and get away, and eventually it gives up and stays in the small confines of the cage. And then they take the cage away, it still stays in that same little area in its own mind, because even though the bars are gone, in its mind, it's still in prison. Many of the gentlemen and women are in prison in their mind. They think this is where they're supposed to be, but they knew nothing else. We're going to help them to change that, show them the setback is set up for a comeback, and that their past does not determine their future. So we're going to put that book in every prison. And then we want to put my youth video, Dare to Dream, Dare to Win, into every, I have one of those over here somewhere. Dare to Dream, Dare to Win is, here it is, this youth video. We're going to put that in there. Can you see that? Yeah, Dare to Dream, Dare to Win. We're going to put that in every school in the country. So we're going to raise enough money to put that in every school in America. So we'll have more young people who won't need to ever go to prison because they are thinking positive. They're making wise choices. So this is a video that helps young people stay away from drugs, stay away from negative people, handle bullies, and to make wise choices so that they can have great academic excellence and success. So they will never have to go to prison. So we won't have to have that book to get them to stay out of prison when they get out. So it's a process. We're going to do both processes, and we want your help. So go to jollygoodnews.org. I don't take a salary from there. We just put in that money so we can make a difference. If that would be a blessing to you as it would be a blessing to me, I appreciate your help. So jollygoodnews.org and make a donation. Thank you so much. I hope this was a blessing to you. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll look to see you hopefully next week, where we have a new message, have some new information. We got more P's to come. They are powerful too. Those powerful P's will help you have greater prosperity and purposeful living future. God bless you. I'll close as I start most of my speeches. You have only just a minute. You have only 60 seconds in it. It's forced upon you. You can't refuse it. You didn't seek it. You didn't choose it. But it's up to you to use it. You must suffer if you lose it. Give account if you abuse it. Just a tiny little minute. But your eternities are all wrapped up in it. God bless you. Stay warm if you're in the East Coast. Stay happy if you're in Florida or Arizona, but most of all, stay blessed. God is good. Remember, God's gift to you is life. Your gift to God is what you do with your lives. Live extraordinarily and exceptionally and give God the glory. God bless you. Have a great day, great week, and a great month on purpose.